Roll of applause for the boys and girls, please. President Michael D. Higgins and Sabina, Lord Mayor Niall Ring, City Councillors, Luke's brother in music, John Sheehan, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. The family has asked me as the eldest grandchild to say a few words of thanks, and we're delighted that the President and Sabina are here with us today. They are long-time friends of Luke and the family. We're very grateful to the Lord Mayor, City Council, councillors, all in Dublin City Council, Onya Clancy, Ray Yates and Rory O'Queeve, for working so hard to bring these projects to fruition and for organising the magnificent events here today. And in particular, we thank Councillor Christy Burke and Des Garrity, who have championed this project from the outset. We're honoured and delighted to have 2 statues unveiled to Luke in his native city. We have just come from South King Street, where the statue by John Call was unveiled, and we're grateful both to him and the late Jerry Hunt, who very kindly donated the statue to Dublin City. And here on the banks of the Royal Canal in Gill Street, we thank Vera Clute for her wonderful portrait head of Luke in full voice. And we also want to thank all of the workers who worked on both statues. Luke had 2 families, and he was very close to both of them. One of those families, of course, was the Dubliners. But he was also very close to a family he loved and who loved him. Uncle Luke became a son of Dublin and Ireland, but first and foremost he was the son of Julia and Luke Sr., a brother to Mona, Paddy, Bessie, Jimmy and John. They grew up and went to school in this community in the heart of Dublin City. He was husband to Deirdre and a dear brother-in-law and a loving uncle to all us Kelly and O'Connell grandchildren. Music and song were part of the Kelly family fabric. Every day when my grandfather returned from work here in Sheriff Street, having spent his day working in Jacobs, Luke Sr. sat with his children and they sang together. He did that every day, and he taught them all the old music hall songs. So from the very outset, music was part and parcel of Luke's life. And Luke started his performing career around the corner on Oriel Street as part of the Marion Arts Group with his sister Mona. But before that, he'd been thrown out of the St. Lawrence O'Toole Choir because Brother Cordial thought his voice was too gruff. Can you imagine that? Uncle Paddy remembers him winning a talent competition in Whitehall where he sang Pat Boone's Love Letters in the Sand. Imagine that. And Bessie, my mam, first heard him sing on the stage when he had just returned from England. She and their dad, Luke Sr., went to the Gate Theatre. It was for the Ballads of Ireland session. On that occasion, Luke sang The Bonnie Shoals of Herring. She'd never heard such a song. She had never heard her brother sing like that. Imagine